Hi, I'm Daniel Andrews, owner and creator of Andrewsfootball.com. Now, bear with me. I got a real nasty cold, but I decided to power through it and do a selection for the Minnesota Vikings and who they're going to take with the 18th pick in the 2019 draft. Now, for those of you that aren't familiar with the Minnesota Vikings, what they did was that 2 years ago they went to the NFC Championship game, gave big money to free agent quarterback Kirk Cousins, thought they had a good chance to get back to the NFC Championship game, maybe win a Super Bowl. They finished 8-7-1, losing the last game of the year to the Chicago Bears, not even making the playoffs. And what they did is that towards the end of the season, they got rid of their offensive coordinator. They're trying to throw the ball too much. They weren't taking advantage of what really should be one of the best defenses in the league. And they tried to throw the ball all over the place and try to become more of a passing team, which really isn't their forte. Realistically, now, this is football 101. You can either have a great offense or a great defense. Now, ideally, you want your team to have a combination of both. But in this day and age, it's really hard to have both a great offense or a great defense. Usually, one team leans towards one side or the other. Now, Mike Zimmer's an old-school defensive coordinator, a defensive whiz. So the Minnesota Vikings are going to be a defensive team, and this defense could be awesome. They have the ability to rush the passer. They have an awesome secondary. I admit I have a man crush on Anthony Barr. I love the fact that when he came out, a lot of teams saw him as a defensive end, 3-4 outside linebacker, and they're like, yeah, I know he's 250, 260. We're still going to use him as 4-3 linebacker. Has the speed, hasn't really fully developed yet into his potential. This is a guy who I just love watching him play because it's just a freak of nature, but the athleticism hasn't equaled the production yet. So, and they did keep him in free agency, which I was really impressed about. I heard the deal with the Jets. I thought, oh, well, but he's going to come back. And when I looked at the Minnesota Vikings, the defense is loaded. You got your quarterback, but you ranked 30th in rushing yards, 27th in carries, 25th in yards per carry. So what they did in the offseason is they signed to be his title's a little murky here, but they brought in Gary Kubiak. Now, he's not going to be the offensive coordinator, but he's going to have a huge impact on the offense. So they're going to kind of switch things around to run that Gary Kubiak offense. If you're not familiar with what that is, it's kind of a zone read type of offense. So basically what it is that they don't really come right at you. The offensive linemen basically move off to the side. The running backs will run behind, and it's basically a one-cut type of offense. You have your running backs that will just kind of run to the slide, and bam, cut right up front. And this is something Dalvin Cook would excel at. By the way, if you're a fantasy football fan, pay attention because Dalvin Cook, if healthy, is going to get about 350, 400 touches. He's going to have a big season, folks. So if you're a Dalvin Cook fan, pay attention because it's going to be a great season for you. And if you're a fantasy football fan, you may want to take Dalvin Cook a little higher up than some of the experts expect because the Vikings are going to try to run the ball a lot more. Take advantage of your good defense. And like I said, when you have a good defense, you want to run the ball. And the reason why is you want to shorten the game. Okay, let me explain. If you have a great defense, you want opposing offenses to have fewer opportunities to figure out your great defense. You want to win games 21-17, 14-10. You don't want a shootout when you have a great defense. And the reason why you don't want a shootout is because then your defense got figured out. And then you're going against your strength. You want to have your defense go against an offense as few times as possible because you're going to win the majority of them. But any defense can be figured out time after time. So when you have a great defense, it's best if you have a good running game and you play shorter games. So this is the reason why they went ahead and brought in Gary Kubiak. Remember, when he won a defense, he did at Peyton Manning, but it was the last year of his career. They won that Super Bowl with a great defense. Von Miller won MVP, deserved to win MVP. They beat a 15-1 regular season Carolina Panthers, a team that had Cam Newton as MVP, held them to 10 points. And this is exactly how the Minnesota Vikings want to go forth in this season. Yes, I'll read off some statistics here offensively. It was awesome. Cousins, 4,298 yards, 30 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. Diggs, 102 catches, 1,021 yards. Thielen, 113 catches, 1,373 yards. These are great fantasy numbers, but this isn't what the Vikings want to do. It's awesome that you got 2 stud number 1 receivers on the outside. Cousins, he's a real good quarterback. Now you got to tighten up the running game. So, Dan, with the 18th pick in the 2019 draft, who are the Minnesota Vikings going to take? Now, if you watch my earlier videos, I'm going to have to go back and make a correction here. Because I got as the 18th pick in the 2019 draft, I got the Minnesota Vikings taking Jonah Williams. And if you're watching my video, specifically the Jacksonville one, you're going to be like, wait a minute. You already took Jonah Williams. Yep, okay. My mistake. So I went back and I changed some things here, okay? I now got Jacksonville taking Juwan Taylor, and he's a plug-and-play guy at right tackle, plug-and-play all day long. Jonah Williams, in this offense, could possibly start at the tackle position. I don't think he will be the starting left tackle, but does he have the ability? He does, because the arm length's not is a little less important, because what they're going to do is try to stretch you and try to get him into space, and that's something that's the strength of his. However, I think he would be best utilized to be a guard. Garrett Bradbury, a number 1 center available. He's a guy who could play center or guard. He's also in play here. Dalton Risner, the left tackle. He played both tackle positions. Most teams see him as right tackle. That's a guy who I was thinking might be a good fit. But I like Jonah Williams the best, because this is a plug-and-play guy who played for Alabama, which, you know, despite the creative, high-powered offense that they had, this was a power-running team. So you got a guy who's used to just running downhill, coached by Nick Saban, one of the best coaches in all of college football. So I think that's what you're getting in Jonah Williams, is a physical, talented player who could be a day 1 starter for you. And the number 1 thing the Vikings want to do is improve the running game, and that's what he's going to have the largest effect on, is improving that running game. So if you're a subscriber to Andrews Football, you already know you're one of the greatest people on planet Earth. All your wildest dreams will come true. But if you're new to Andrews Football, or you're just a Minnesota Vikings fan, you're an NFL draft fan, you're an NFL mock draft fan, or you just want to check me out in this cowboy hat, there's this little red button right down here. Check it out. And bam! Hit that button. Become one of the greatest people on planet Earth. Wait till tomorrow. Hopefully I'll get over this cold a little bit. And I'll talk about the 19th pick in the 2019 draft. I'll see you tomorrow.